let me very briefly, if I could, John, sort of just fill folks in on the campaign and then touch briefly on a very important fiscal component of our message that we bring, that are bringing and will continue to bring to the American people. As Dr. Lark, Jim Lark, who is here, a member of the Libertarian National Committee, I think can attest, the convention, the Libertarian Convention held in Denver over about a 4-day period. I say about a 4-day period. You know, my mind told me because of sleep deprivation that it went on for 2 weeks. But I think it was about a 4-day convention. And he'll tell you that it was very quiet, very subdued, very non-controversial, and, you know, everything was sort of preordained. Bob Barr just sort of waltzed in, and everybody loved Bob Barr and said, this is the guy that we want. Not quite that easy. I think as I've gotten to know libertarians and the Libertarian Party from being formally involved with the party and a formal member of the party since 2006, even if you have a room full of libertarians, and even if they agree on everything, they're going to find something to argue about. But it is a wonderful process to go through. Over the 30 years or so that I had been associated with that other party, the Republican Party, you know, very much, I mean, there were exciting times. The 1980 election in which we elected Ronald Reagan, I mean, that was an exciting time. And even the 84 election in which Mr. Reagan won a tremendous victory. That was an exciting time, not quite as exciting as 1980. And even in 1994, when I was honored and very pleased to be a part of the new Republican majority that swept into the House and gave us the majority in the House for the first time in 40 years. I mean, that was tremendously exciting. But if you look at the Republican Party nowadays, the one element that is completely missing is excitement. There's absolutely no excitement in the Republican Party. And you see barely more taking away the excitement that comes from having Senator Obama, a very new face, a new approach, on the Democrat ticket also, and their party. And it's because neither of the two major parties has any vision or leadership whatsoever. And it seems as if they, not only do they have no leadership or vision or agenda for the American people, but they go out of their way to avoid it. The Republicans, for example, in the 06 election, lost control of both the House and the Senate, and had an opportunity at their leadership meetings just a few months after suffering that very debilitating political defeat to re-energize the party through their leadership decisions and to put a new team in there that actually could think ahead beyond simply the next closed-door meeting. And to bring some youth and some energy to that movement, to put together an agenda that the American people could look at and say, yes, we agree with that. This really illustrates that the party has found its soul. It's Ronald Reagan, Barry Goldwater's soul again. But they didn't. And as Mark Halperin, one of America's great writers and a great son of Virginia, lives down in Charlottesville, once put it in describing, this was a few years ago, but it's as apt today, in describing the American political scene nationally. He said, we have what we have. And it isn't very much. And what I am finding, and I suspect what a lot of us find as we travel America and work with friends and colleagues from across the country in whatever capacity, business, education, family, political, we probably are finding what I find and what was reflected in, I think, one of the most recent, if not the most recent, right direction, wrong track poll, those polls that are conducted in a nonpartisan fashion periodically, and which have some particular relevance during presidential election cycles. And I remember back when I first ran for the Congress, back in 1994, we used a national polling company, the Terrence Group, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are one of the polling organizations that then and perhaps even now
works these national right direction, wrong track polls. And they are considered very, very nonpartisan, very objective polls to gauge the mood of the American people. And they ask questions that basically determine, certainly it's a snapshot, but a very, very focused one, whether the American people, the American electorate, believes the country is going in the wrong direction or the right direction and is on the right track or the wrong track. And over the years, as I and probably many of you all have followed these polls, they've indicated, certainly in sort of the bad political times, maybe 30, 40, 50%, if it's a really bad political year, of the American people have a sense that the country is not going in the right direction, that it is going in the wrong direction. And that is sort of a wake-up call. But the most recent one that I've seen has that figure where people believe the country is going in the wrong direction, on the wrong track, is in the mid to high 80s. And that is not good for anybody, Republican, Democrat, independent, apolitical, libertarian, because that sense of pessimism is not a font for good public policy. That is when people detach themselves from the political arena, from following events. They become pessimistic. They lose faith in government. Now, it certainly can be rekindled, but it's not a formula for good public policy any more than what has become the main currency of public policy in the post-9/11 world, and that is fear, something that Ian was talking about, and we see this in the political arena as well in Washington, practiced primarily by the Republican Party, this notion of fear driving public policy. But out of that current situation where the American people do not have a positive or optimistic sense of where the country is and where it's going, I think there is a tremendous opportunity. And there's a tremendous opportunity in particular for a party such as the Libertarian Party that represents change, that says to the American people, at long last, your days of wandering in the status quo wilderness are over. You can feel good about going into the polling booth on November 4th and in success in succeeding four-year election cycles, certainly, and do more than simply feel yourselves bound to vote for the lesser of two evils, vote for big government or really big government.